sound without organization, if you don't organize sound in a line, in a timeline, does not make sense for our ears. So to have music, you need rhythm. You need to put the sound in a frame, in a shape, in a structure, and the rhythm is that. Also, if you just have sound necessarily, like, and rhythm, like dun 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 dun, it's not music necessarily. It's not touching your heart. It's not saying anything, right? But if you build a phrase, or if you bring a message, it's where the melody takes place. So if I do ta 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 ta, I have music. So the melody is the message, right? And music is not just sound, rhythm, melody. It's not just vibration, right? The music transport us to a different level of consciousness, touch our soul, our feeling, connect us with our deep in ourselves. So the music have a power, a very magical power of connect us to the divine, to the spiritual world. And in the Daime, the experience is totally musical. I'm sure about in your experience when you are in the work and like everyone is singing together, like in the same beat, in harmony, singing in tune, the same beat. It's when the force arrives. Is that right?
It takes you there, yeah.
And then until get there, first got like there. When we, it's when comes that amazing sensation of the Daime. Because what makes the Daime different than other circles and other traditions, what will give the characteristics of the Santo Daime tradition, it's our music. It's our rhythms that the hymns like have three specific kind of rhythms, right? We have the repeats, the bars on the verses, which was created to help us sing without having the necessity of have a book or any source. If you go back in time, when Mestre Knoedt received in his vision from the Queen of the Forest the mission of the doctrine, she told him, "You will sing the teachings," and he argued with her like, I'm not singer, like I don't know how to sing. And then she like, just open your mouth. And he opened his mouth and he started singing. Deus te salve, ó lua branca, da luz tão prateada. This beautiful waltz, received by this black guy, grandson of slaves who came from Africa on the boat, who had zero education, no school, no anything, but his childhood and his entire life, the music and the cultural manifestations brought to him a connection with his ancestors, with his mission. So when he received the first hymn, he don't know how to write or how to read, right, Mestre Ineu? And the hymns were about repeats. So you don't know how to read, but you can hear. And whatever you can hear, you can reproduce. Is how we learn how to talk, right? The kids, it's hearing you, like, saying words, and they start repeat, and then they talk. And it's a lot about a very strong potential we have in the memory side of the brain. It's our hard drive, right? The computer. And a lot of times we only have access to this like desktop, right? But we have the entire drive there to explore, right? And through the musical experience, play an instrument, sing, and also the intelligence, the power plants, ayahuasca, daime, peyote, Santa Maria. For me, Santa Maria is the most amazing musical plant that exists. Right? Really levantando a bandeira. Oh. So in the Daime, initially, the meetings were concentrations, right? Everyone drink the Daime, and Mestre Ineu, how he learned from the shamans, right, in Peru. Dom Pizango, who was his maestro, his teacher for a little while, before he learned how to make the medicine and how to heal people with the plants. And when he aggregate like his friends and start do the works, was pretty much shamanism, right? Everyone drink, stay in silence. He have like the tobacco and blow the tobacco, do cleansings, and that was pretty much the rituals. Few years, and then his friends started receiving the hymns, and they were meet and sing the hymns, sing, and everyone learned the entire night. You know, Mestre had 5 hymns, Germano had like 3 hymns, Maria Damião like 2, Antônio Gomes another one, João Pereira another. And they were repeating that same hymns all night until they memorized, and they got comfortable. They all learned together in a very organic way. And slowly, the community was growing. More songs were coming, like bringing the teachings to shape that community, and musicians started arriving. The first thing that Mestre Ineu realized was like everyone need an instrument that everyone can play. A lot of people have no money. Imagine that was a secluded community, majority like black people and like people who like had nothing and came to Mestre Ineu, was about to die, and he healed them, and they move around and farming. Very humble people. So had no research or technology or information to build an instrument or to have access or buy it. So he like, no, let's make an instrument which everyone can have. And then the first instrument of the Daime, the maracá. Because the maracá, everyone can get a can, right? And, you know, got a wood stick and figure out how to make this. Usually in tradition, it's a pretty big one. I don't know if you guys already saw the Saturnino with one, right? That's the Saturnino is the standard, but have bigger ones. Like, you know, the quart of the painting can. You know, the quart of the painting can. It's pretty big, And I saw a lot of that in the Master Neil's original church, right? Where I had the pleasure to visit a few times and do works there. And have a tradition about the Musicality. Each one will make their own and put like 1,000 little balls, right? Beads inside. It's made by metal, like steel, little balls. And for each one, you would pray a Hail Mary. In Acre, in Rio Branco, like have a lot of the superstitious and kind of fantastic way to see life. And then the maraca was the first element, which like, okay, everyone can have an instrument, everyone can play this. So for the fardados, for the people who chose to like commit and be part of that, they had this challenge to like learn how to play that instrument, right? And at the same time, I had also one of the old followers of Mesh had a pandeiro, how is it, tambourine?
Tambourine.
It's a Brazilian tambourine. You guys pandeiro? No pandeiro? It's like I have this, like right? Had someone who played that. I had also Frei Daniel, who was one of the contemporaries of Mestre Neu, who opened the line of the Barquinha, and he played this kind of violin. It's called Rabeca. It's very like country. This country kind of violin. I don't know if you guys have this here. Usually play like bluegrass, like
The fiddle.
yeah. He played that, which is very interesting because that was the first string instrument on the Daime, and have no frets, right? And an instrument without frets does not have like a specific pitch, right? And originally the melodies had a lot of different characteristics before, like the accordion or the guitar came with like the notes like exact, right? So it was very like kind of finding, and with like chromatic lines like da na ni na ni na. And today is very very square in the scale in the Western like music theory. And then the accordion came, and the guitars. The ladies play guitar. Mestre Neu's wife, Dona Persília, who was the responsible for the music guide, because each one who received a hymn that time had to go through her. Mestre Neu designated her as like a reference, first because she knew how to write, and she had education, so she knew a little bit about music. She could play guitar, right? And so, like when Maria Damião example, you guys probably have a very special care for this in Ireland. It's very beautiful, right? Very musical, right? Beautiful melodies. But what I heard is like she was pretty much like deaf, like tone, you know. She could not sing really clearly the melodies, and like Dona Persília, who was the one who was like, "Oh, you mean that? Okay," and like kind of translate that. And she was the responsible also for coordinate the practice, the studies, and the musicality. And a lot of the doctrine was built around that. Let's get together to learn the hymns, to study, to practice for the work. So the work, it's actually not, the church is a school, we're here to learn, but in the same time, it's the moment for you to present your efforts and your studies to the Queen, to the Master, right? So every time you come to the church, We come to bring like the best of us in our studies, right? And study the hymn. It's an essential part of the Santo Daime. Like not only learn how to sing the hymn, but especially how to follow what the hymn is saying, right? So the studies are very important, and it's about that what I want to talk to you today, pretty much. We don't have that much time. This program, what I do, take me a week to be able to go in each element, right? But if we start talk about the elements, like you start perfectly with sound. Sound is the first fundamental element we call timbre. It's the difference of sounds, right? Like I say ah, you say ah. My ah is Gabriel saying ah. His ah is Colin saying ah. So the timbres is what create difference. Like a guitar sound different than a bass or a violin or another strings, because each one have a timbre, a characteristic. So that's the first element that we look. So we will take sound out of this. What is the sound of this here? Explore the sound of your instrument, right? In the case of the maracá, I will talk more about maracá today. You have all these balls inside here, right? The sound you want to have with the maracá, it's a very controlled sound. It's like, it's a beat. It's not loose. It's not open. Also, the possibilities of sound. If you hold the maracá here and play more like that, you have one sound. If you play more like that, it's a different sound. Originally, the recommendation to play the maracá, it's in this position here. Like aligned with your solar plexus here. And use your hand to hold and make make precise. Because if you have a loose, you don't have exact beat. And for us to be everyone in the same beat, for us to be one, because that's the intention of the circle, right? We build a current, a unity. The precision of the beats are very important. And also it's a dance. It's a kind of dance. Like a lot of people play maracá like dance here. Like I'm doing something, like trying to figure out. No, you gotta relax your body and try to find this groove, With the dance, it's perfect because the dance not only guide your beats, also like give you the movement necessary to like fit the maracá in the right place. So the maracá is the first instrument you want to play. Before you even think about play a guitar or play a drum or play anything else in the works, you have to master this, right? One thing which is very challenging for some people, it's how to divide the time. Sometimes you have trouble, like when you have the head start of the maracá, and I have a tip for that, is you keep down beats. Okay, and then you can find like following the lead maracá, right? So that's it's because it's it's not cool at all when someone gives the beat in the wrong place. You know, like I'm playing the guitar, like you know, I'm having a vision or like boom, that's all gone. I'm like, what? Where's this comes from? Oh my god! And like I can't play anymore. I can't think anymore just because one beat is off. Yeah. Maybe I'm a little too much, but it's how I feel like.
No pressure.
Huh?
No pressure.
Yeah. So the next element we talk about will be the rhythm, right? The rhythm, it's this structure that gives a song a characteristic. The rhythm of the daime, it's very much influenced by the army, the military music, which Mestre Lindeu had a lot of influence. He was part of the army. When he first moved to the rainforest, he was working in these expeditions with the army to find the border of Brazil and Peru, between Peru and Bolivia. And the musicality in the army, like the very first one is this, it's the march, right? It's the march for the battle. It's that rhythm, which is a 4x4 structure. It's the, you know, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the marcha. It's the main rhythm. It's what keeps us going in the works. Sometimes we do an all-night journey, and it's very symbolic. It's pretty much a battle, right? That we go in our own work, in our own experience. It's a battle, so you're marching like, with the soldiers of the Queen of the Forest. It's that symbol what Mestre brought through this rhythm, and the marcha have this very characteristic way to play, where the traditional way is one, two, three, four. The four is the accent of the trying to be the most precise possible. And then with time, the leaders and the commanders of elaborate few kind of divisions and what we call repique, which is like a range on the maracá playing, which is like hooch playing. Like. Or Padrinho Alfredo also plays sometimes different. Padrinho Valdete play different. But it's in general, for the ritual, everyone gotta be playing the same. The commander of the isle can create this the lead maracá. Can sometimes really energize the hand. Some things like that, but that's not a general possibility for everyone to play. The maracá, the most equal we can be with the music, it's better for the harmony, right? We're gonna get in harmony after we talk about melody. The melody, when we talk about the hymns, it's the most magical thing, right? It's the melody. It's where come the message. That beautiful melodies what the hymns have. No, before I talk the melody, next rhythm, it's the waltz, right? The waltz, it's also a very European influence, right? We have no waltz in Brazilian, native Brazilian background. Also came through like the religious festivities and cultural manifestations with the European influence. Also the instruments, right? Like the guitars that would come from Europe and que é ternary or 3/4 time, right? So you have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. First, you want to find your timbre, like how's the best way for you to play. Try to use your hand, just to you don't really hit your hand, you just like kind of hold. It's very, let's do just this. Okay, march. Try play without hand. You got to feel how loose it is. Hand. Okay, so let's do a little valsa. Let's practice this. You see, it's the same principle of stop, the precision. Huh? So, it's 2 times up, huh? Down, up. Nice, sounds pretty good. And the next one, it's a little polemic, which is the mazurka, right? The mazurka, it's also ternary, which is a 3. It's a time made by 3 divisions, right? But it's actually a 6/8. So I have 2 ways to play the mazurka. Yeah? Exists older way, like what we can call traditional, more old school way, which is the 3/3. Yeah? And later on was incorporated the 4/2, which is like the standard in Mapiá style. né? So the mazurka in mapear is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 2 up. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's play the 3-3 now, which is the original way, okay? This way is how Padrinho Valdete played the mazurka. He plays in how he learned in the Macedonian church when he was a kid. And then I pretty much recommend like the church get together to kind of define what is the way to follow. Like I personally prefer much better the 3-3 division. It's like make much more sense in my understanding, but my function is let you know how it is, right? So the rhythm, it's really important. It's how he say. It's the heartbeat. It's what keeps alive our circle, our current. It's the rhythm. So it's very good be mindful about the rhythm. In general, not only during the works with music, right? But if you find a rhythm with your work, with your studies, with your diet, with your sleeping, if you find like a good rhythm, like you build like a healthy routine that you can progress in whatever thing you want to do, right? So it's very important for us to exercise some rhythm. Let's talk about melody. I start talking. The melody, it's what creates this difference in the hands, right? Let's say we have two different valses, in the cruzeirinho. Do viva Deus nas alturas e a Virgem Mãe nosso amor. You guys see? Dun, 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 dun. The different notes, this distance between the height, the pitch of the notes, or this extension of the wave vibration, which make us create different sounds, is be able to sing in tune. When we talk about melody, we're talking about tuning, like singing the melody in that specific intervals, that specific line. So the melody for you to study. For me, example, who plays guitar in the works, I need learn the melodies of each hymn. So I need to know exactly how it goes. The notes E, A, B, C, B, A, E, C, B, A, C, E, D, B. And to be able to understand the intervals, I recommend you to find a keyboard and understand the scale. In the keyboard, you have the white keys and the black keys. Right? If you keep going one after the other in the white keys, you have the C major scale, which is the standard major scale intervals of 7 notes that repeat itself like infinitely times and organized in different octaves. Example, I have one note here. Do. Let's try to everybody say do. I want to hear your voice. Do. Okay, you did a warm up, huh? Put your foot on the ground. And let's say on. But everyone the same pitch, okay? Same note. Let's vibrate together. Feel your lungs. You guys know what diaphragm is? It's this little pump, little balloon we have here. And if you do like that, and if you need extra air, and if you press that, like that helps you to like reach the notes, right? So if you like squeeze your belly, it kind of helps you. So. Louder. Everybody together. If you feel like you're a little off, try to push a little harder to go a little higher. Little higher. Just you two. Just you. Hi. Little more. Lower. Exactly. Go back there. Go back there. Higher. Match me. Go higher. You got easier. Right there. You felt?
I can hear it. Yeah, I can.
You felt? So that place, we in the hymns, we gotta follow the melody. The guitar is there, like hitting that note, for you to like hear and match that sound. That's the melody, right? So pretty much I heard you guys. That sounds pretty in tune, but don't be afraid to explore your voice. You know. A lot of the Daime, it's about sing. It's what we sing all the time. Let's sing with love and joy. It's what the hymns are saying.
It's like your instrument. Sing.
Yeah, it's the manifestation of your soul expressing, and also where the hymns, the teachings, comes from the spiritual world to this dimension here where we are. It's through our voice.
Can I ask a
Yeah,
question?
sure.
It's a very amateur question, but I have when following a guy, like is it correct that I'm singing an octave above?
Yeah,
That
exactly.
is correct, okay.
It's correct.
Okay,
Because the women have this higher range,
right,
and they can go farther in the pitch, and the men can go lower
okay.
than the women. So we have an octave difference where we sing in a low octave and the girls in the high octave.
Okay.
Sometimes few guys, tenors, have a facility like to like sing in the high octave, né? Like usually we sing Eu venho da floresta com meu cantar de amor. Eu venho da floresta com meu cantar de amor. Eu canto com alegria. Each person have a range, a characteristic. In my case, I am a baritone, which is it's a bass, baritone, and then you have a tenor. So I'm in the intermediary range. I cannot get too low and I cannot get too high. Majority of the men are that, but have some men who like can sing like super high, and I also have women who can sing like the sopranos can sing like a bird, you know. But the the contraltos, like cannot reach that notes. That does not have a physiological potential for that, but they also can reach lower range. So for the guitar player who plays guitar, like that's a very fine study. It's how to find the perfect key for men and women to sing in unison, which is in unity, right? When we talk about combinations of sounds to sound good, we talk about harmony. Harmony, this word comes from music. But the harmony, it's the combination of notes, right? If you combine two random notes, the notes, it's the sound in that specific place, right? Like, ding, this will be a A sharp, let's say, and B will be a F. Example, if you combine random notes, will not necessarily sound good, you know? Example, if I combine this note over here, and then I combine this note over here, okay, that sound good? No, huh? If I combine it, and this with this, sounds pretty good, huh? Sounds pretty good, huh? Dance, huh? Like a scary movie, like right? So, the combination of the notes, it's what make harmony, harmonics, right? You have a string, and then you find like the specific place on the string where you find harmonics. The same note is generating the harmonics. And these harmonics respect intervals, specific intervals that we measure, we call steps, which in the guitar, each of these frets represent a half step. 2, it's a full step. So in the keyboard, you have this, the white keys do. And between the white keys, you have the black. Until you hit again the same note. That's the same note in different octaves. So, easy to understand, right? for the singing, we gotta do our best to like try to sing in harmony. So in tune and following the melody. Let's do a little harmony exercise. From me to you, we're gonna sing one note, okay? Let's say on again. I wanna hear you. Okay. Hold on the sound. This half, we'll sing this one. Again. Do this too, you. Push it on. You, the other. You see how these two notes like fit each other perfectly? And this is called harmony, the combination. It's what the guitar do with the strumming, like doing the chords. The chords are combination of notes, in harmony. So when you play chords, you are combining here like three notes pretty much, and then the root, the third, and the fifth. And it's really important, the harmony, like set, like you play a chord, like okay, so everyone know in what key we are, in what scale we will sing. And then in the guitar playing, it's really important to have like the guy playing the rhythm, you know. The rhythm and the harmony build the perfect foundation for the melody to come. Eu tomo Daime para ver os meus defeitos, eu tomo Daime para eu me corrigir. Because the melody, the notes is within this chord. This is the chord. And all the melodies are built in chords, respecting these intervals. So if you play guitar, keyboard, flute, or any instrument in the Daime, what will help your performance a lot, it's practice the scales and the arpeggios, which is be able to like do the chords and play the notes of each chord, of each key. This is really important. If you only go by ear, it's gonna take you forever to learn something, and you're just like forcing yourself to memorize and do magic. And a lot of people do that. Majority of the musicians, the original musicians of the Daime, was all by ear, right? Which is also good to develop different skills. But if you do like learn the notes, the intervals, the shapes for the guitar, or the flute, or the piano, accordion, whatever instrument can add to the work, my recommendation is study like mechanic practice, the scales and the arpeggios, and to like really understand the harmony, all the chords within a key. So even if you don't play, it's nice for you to like kind of meet the piano and like try to voice exercise, set up a metronome. Metronome can help you a lot with rhythm. If you have a challenge to like keep it in a whatever rhythm, you set up a metronome. Practice the maracá with the metronome. Practice your instrument, the guitar. Practice the arpeggios, the scale. And try different like divisions. Different parts. In the music, for you to master, you need to build memory, muscle memory, and you only achieve muscle memory with repetition, like 1,000 times, like 3-4 hours a day, like repeating something, for you to be able to like really progress. Yeah? So that's my tip, it's my recommendation for your instrument. If it's the maracá, if it's the guitar, if it's the flute, or the singing, or the drum. Yeah? I would like to talk a little bit about the drum before we close. The drum's a very, very powerful tool, right? Originally in the Daime have no drum incorporated in the works. How I was saying, have the tambourine. The drumming for the marcha, like I will like say what I personally like about the drumming. What's helpful the most for me in being the guitar. When the drum, first thing, consistency. The drum on the Daime, it's really important to be synchronized with the lead maracá, right? So that head, the one on the maracá, right? That start point, right? Is the bass note on the drum. Né? Né? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. For the marcha. For me, the most important of the drum is have this strong head type. Like you can play the division in many different ways. Né? This consistency of repeating and hitting the bass note every time in the head, it's really good for me playing the guitar. Because that is like, it supports me. Like I don't have to be doing that with the bass here on the guitar. Boom. You know, the drum is already holding. Yeah? You see the Padrinho he playing with two congas. He have the big one doing the bass, and then he have the other where he do the breaks and like the yeah? And you always can like bring some color and do like connections between you. That's my favorite beat for the marcha, right? The waltz, I'm not the best drummer in the waltz, but pretty much 1, 2, 3, right? Let's call this one. It's what I care about, right? This is more the mazurka, the waltz. The one exemplo da valsa. Da mazurca, né? I like that. It's very military, very art. I'm not the most skilled drummer, but this is basically the beats, what like the basic beats of the Santo Daime rhythm. Of course, like from there, like if you are a drummer or percussionist, like you probably like will have more background and reference about rhythms and beats. But pretty much on the daime with the march, the waltz, we try to not color a lot the hands with different rhythms. You know? Have another segment in the doctrine which is the umbanda, you know, and with the shamanism too, like different like influence that kind of combine with the hands. Like in umbanda you have like afoxé, which is do afoxé ou do Congo de Ouro. Eu tenho 7 espadas para me defender. That's African influence, which is like having the umbanda, some hymns would talk about the orishas, like you can kind of bring a little bit of these elements like to like praise the ancestor, but basically to match with the waltz, the march and the mazurka, less in a drum is more, right? We have a very exceptional examples like Padrinho Léo, which he really like, he put a lot, right? It's very colorful, but it's hard to have more than one drum if he's playing, you know. If you have another drummer, it's too much because he do it all, you know, like the breaks and. But I like when like have more drums and if you have the basic, it's easier. If everyone's doing the bass at the same time, you can like do the breaks different and that like adds and sounds really cool. So for who is drummer here or wanted to play drum, I recommend you guys to like do few drum circles, like really like make a circle, bring your drum. Smoke some Santa Maria or something you guys like to consecrate and play together. And I don't know if you guys know the Rastafari, like Naya Bing, which is a really nice rhythm for you to like. It's the heartbeat, the Pachamama. It's a good meditation to do. Like I really recommend get together to play drum because. And also in the works, like when I have the drummer, it's really good to respect the drum, try to align the drum with the lead maracá and organize, not to overpower, because if you have too much drum, we create a volume issue in the salon. The main instrument is the voice, period. When you have the voice like pretty audível, né? You can hear pretty clear, né? You balance the maracá sound under the voice, né? And the drum just create that foundation to like hold the work, the heartbeat, right? So the drum, it's very powerful, and also if the drum is not like on point, can really interfere and like put the work upside down. So drum is very important. once the drums start in the work, cannot stop.
Yeah.
You know, and when you have someone playing the drum and stop, it's like you like, where is it? Like something's missing. Like, oh my god! Like, dum, dum, dum. For me, it's better to not start if it's gonna stop, right?
The bread for the sandwich.
Yeah. So what you say, it's exactly like have that moment with is to raise the energy, you know. So that's the appropriate moment. It's on the guitar too, you know. Like you want to play the most basic, like really like stick with the melody and like play a simple harmony, but then start like the energy start get up and like. And between the notes and the melody, you can like add one idea and like bring a strum that will like bring alive, bring energy to the salon, bring more joy, more happiness. So the music is what make our ceremony or ritual like what it is, right? And I recommend you to study, because as much you study outside the salon here, more you bring to the salon, right? So that's my general recommendation. It's what I do, and every time I drink Daime, like I have the opportunity to learn a little bit more and to find out how much more I need to learn. So the music is also very humbling because it's infinite possibilities, right? So that was our workshop. Aho.
Thank you so
Everyone
much.
satisfied? Yeah.